After how grindy things got, things were breaking. No, I didn't make large enough resource farms, and so I was having resource deficits. Huge resource deficits. Yeah. I was out of mana because I wasn't making large mana generating options. I just made, ooh, this looks pretty in this space. Let's build this one flower to do stuff. So I was at the point of out of mana all the time, and then I was out of resources to make things because I hadn't made large enough setups. So my goal this time around is to try to make massive setups for farms, for resources, for crafting. Yeah, I just ran out of stuff constantly. It drove me insane near the end, and it started cascading to the point that I'm like, this is out of stuff. Oh, now this is out of stuff. Now this is out of stuff. It just, yeah. It was just, yeah, I didn't plan well enough for the scope of the pack. So, alright, so we have a stack and 17. That's how many more Endoflames is going to make. We have enough seeds for that. So we'll just let that go. And then we need to do Hydrangeas because the drawer is empty, so it's not placing anymore. Speaking of Hydrangeas, we're over halfway done with the goal for the pack to complete the Hydrangeas. That does not mean I'm shutting them off at all. I'm gonna leave them running. It does mean that I've completed that step. Is there any way to move items a long distance? What do you consider a long distance? Well, here's a question for you. Why do you need to move the items? This guy belongs over here. If I wanted to supply the petals from... Okay. Just like in my previous playthrough, I'm going to use... If I wanted to supply the petals from your flower farm to the Endoflame maker. Yeah. That would be Corporea. That will be Corporea. I will have the petals auto-crafted and stored in chests or drawers, and they'll have a Corporea spark on them. And then the Corporea network will know that there are brown, red, and light gray petals in the system. And then ultimately my petal apothecary setup will request what it needs to craft instead of needing to have a bulk amount on hand. I'm guessing you haven't seen my previous playthrough of Floramancer. Corporea is the way of moving stuff around. In fact, you don't need a centralized storage with Corporea. Decentralized is like the way. So wherever I've got flowers is where I'm going to say this is where the flowers live. I don't need to move them to a main setup to have access to them throughout my world. I just need to have the Corporea network reach that far. And that is unlimitedly extensible. I can make it go anywhere. So, yeah, that's it. Yep. Eventually, we will have Corporea. But, as I've mentioned, yes, it needs to be chunk loaded. And there are chunk loaders in the pack. The chicken chunks one is in here. So, yep. There's even spot loaders if I needed to load just individual chunks. Yep. Alright. But in order to get to Corporea, we need to go to the end. And people have, you know, I've had people in the Vasky's Discord be like, well, just bring an ender chest with you and go and collect your ender air and then die. And I'm just like, the problem is I'm playing Garden of Glass, as I always forget to mention. And Garden of Glass means you need to craft the ender portal frames. And to do the ender portal frames, I need Gaia Guardian spirits. And I am kicking my heels about preparing for a Gaia Guardian fight. Just really kicking my heels. So that's why I was like, well, you know what? We'll just keep building earlier game pre-Corporea stuff until until the cows come home. Alright, blue and cyan. And we should have a decent amount of bone meal still in our system here. Yeah. Let's craft some petals. We'll do cyan first. This is what I spent a lot of my day yesterday doing, was petals, and I can't wait till I can just turn my Jaded Amaranthus on and not have it consume a bunch of mana and I can just use the flowers, but this really isn't that bad. Again, I could definitely run it. I have the mana, I'm not comfortable at the moment consuming as much as I've done yet. We will eventually. But since we don't have a whole lot of mana being automated, because again, Hydrangeas are really crummy for mana, and that's really the only one we have running consistently. We do have Endoflames, and I need to get those rebooted. They're probably all dead. Alright, so we have enough to do a stack, and let's do enough to do two stacks. Can you put shears inside a dispenser and have it cut down the tall flowers? Dispensers don't work with shears in 112. Yeah. Otherwise, I'd so be all over that. But this doesn't take that long. It grows exponentially. There it is, 16. See, we're already at 2 stacks and some. I just need to get to 4. There's 3 stacks. Am I missing one somewhere? Probably, yeah. That'll be off. We need to do More. All right. Would what I said above work? I do not believe dispensers can plant petals. Let me look real quick. Quark dispensers can plant saplings, crops, netherwort, chorus flowers, and vanilla flowers. Dispensers cannot place petals, apparently. So I can't automate that. Dispensers place blocks. I don't know. Yes, but I do not believe the petal is a block. Nope, it just shot it out. Does not work. Yep. Are you out? Yeah, you're out of seeds. Okay, so we need to turn you off. And what? It must have broke. Did I not have the same amount of red? And I must not have had the same amount of... Okay. No, Rhinocarpus cannot place petals either. Alright, so we definitely need more seeds now. The intended way to get petals is the Jaded Amaranthus, so I'm pretty certain Vasky made it so that the other ways did not work or were a pain in the backside. Don't eat. Well, I guess it doesn't matter, does it? As long as I get the seeds. Most likely. I haven't played Botania in 1.16. Actually, I haven't played modded Minecraft for anything above 1.12 yet. Not that I don't want to, it's just I'm playing the Direwolf 20 pack very occasionally with Ed. He's not a big Minecrafter at the moment, so it's very rare. But I'm enjoying the little bits of stuff that I've gotten. We've played like, let me preface this for you. We've played about 4 hours of a pack, so you know we're not super far into it. And there are a lot of things I want to play with in 1.16 to learn, but yeah. There are a lot of things. You don't think Botania changed much in 1.16? Don't know. I don't know if there's been changes in 1.14, 1.15. I don't know because I haven't looked into that. I'm still just at 1.12, which is okay. I love the Floramancer pack, so that's kind of where I'm at the moment. Alright, we have enough seeds. We have lots of seeds. So we should be able to resume this and start making hydrangeas. I do think I know one of the versions above 1.12 changed the Rafflesia so that if you feed it more than 2 different flowers, it keeps growing exponentially in the amount of mana that it produces until it reaches a certain max. I've heard about this. I've heard about it. I don't know what that maximum is, but I've heard that it's totally buffed. I love the Rafflesia flower. It is awesome. So cool. So yeah, that is definitely something I look forward to maybe playing with in the future, but right now, meh. So, okay, this is going. We're making some of those. Let's, I just have some beets, whatever. Beets! We have beets! Okay, let me check off bulk runic altar off of my to-do list. That was up near the top, so you can tell I've been putting that off. Massive vanilla farm. That was just because I desperately need a bunch of seeds. But I've been working in my creative test world on figuring out a farm setup. It's nowhere near ready, but I could show you really quickly if you'd like. Brewery. We need to make a brewery so we can make Botania potions. And now that we have this setup, we can just pull out the runic altar and put the brewery in its place. Yeah. So to make a brewery, let's do that real quick before we do that. Brewery requires 1 brewing stand. Oh, and we have runes of mana. We have it in here. Let's grab one of you. I wonder if the blaze rods are over in... Nope, they're here. Okay. Blaze rods, cobble, rune of mana, mana steel. We need a block of mana steel, and we need some living rock. That's downstairs as well. Okay. Brewing stand first. Brewery. Yay! And we're going to put him in here. Watch me forget I put him, even though I know that you can just put the brewery here and it will work. I even think the comparator detects when it's making the brew and when it's done the same way. It just doesn't need the wand. It doesn't hurt to have the wand down there, it just doesn't need the wand. So there's that. Woo. We can check the brewery off. I don't have any brews I want to make right now. I just know that I'm going to need brews for the Gaia fights. No, the brewery doesn't need living rock either, which is why that's kind of like a separate hopper from the others in the system. Yeah, it doesn't need it. Yeah, for the Gaia fight, I want to make flasks of absorption and resistance. It would be lovely, absolutely lovely, if we could do one thing from Incorporeal. We can't, but it'd be lovely, maybe for future fights. This Blood Soul Core. This would rock. So rock. I mean, this part I can make right now, but this... Can I? I might actually be able to make it. I have to make ice, but that's doable. This Blood Soul Core... I might even have a ghast here. Let me read you the Lexica because this is what got me excited. I talked with Quat about it. He's the mod maker. He's like, I wish people would use it more. And I'm like, well, what does it do? And when he told me, I'm like, oh, would that be workable, usable in boss fights? And he just kind of made a quirky smile emoticon. And I was like, Okay, so. Blood. Alright, so soul cores, let me start you. Soul cores envelop a player's soul in mana solution, and so it allows you to do things remotely to your player or to interact with your player, as long as you're in the same dimension, according to this says. The blood one, okay, so we have a soul core, and we need to get our head. So those are 2 things we need to do. And it needs to have a constant amount of mana. So keep those in mind. The one that I want to use right now is this one. At the cost of mana, it injects all potion effects received via splash potions into the bloodstream of the bound player. Since the soul suspended in the soul core, the head, is technically undead, this process will cause the usual effect inversions that occur. So we need to use damage potions to heal and whatnot. But if I could just splash instant damage potions onto the blood soul core and it instantly heals me as if I were a zombie, think about it that way, no matter where I am in the world, that sounds awesome. And the reason it sounds awesome for Gaia fights is because when you play the Gaia Guardian, the beacon effects in its range are all disabled. And so all you have are like potion effects. And I think we tried incense also, and those didn't work. So I had the Fallen Kanad, which works. Setting one up with the Hazy Dream and 2 witches, that would be funny. The problem is the Blood Soul Core only works on players. I'm gonna do poison potions count as regen. No idea. That would be something we would test. We would make this Blood Soul Core, throw different splash potions on it, and see what effects it gives me. Because I don't know what potions work on zombies. And I mean, I know that probably you can do the other ones that aren't health. Can you look for potion? So we need to do splash ones. So if I throw haste on it, would it give me haste? Resistance. I mean, can I do resistance? That's it. It's just these. Oh, there's some up here. So we can't use healing or regen because those would be opposite. Leaping. I don't think I'd need fire resistance. Swiftness would be lovely. I probably don't need haste then. Swiftness is what I meant. So I think the only one that gets inverted is the healing ones need to be damage ones. But that'd be worth testing in a creative world. I have to remember how, because I've never actually made a soul core. Whoops. No, not in there. Is it in miscellaneous when you have to just kind of look for it? Huh. What chapter did he store these in? Don't know. Yeah. Maybe it doesn't need my head. Hang on. To inform a soul core of your presence, right-click. Oh no. So you create it and then you right-click it to bind it. Do I know the mouse shortcuts in Lexica? I do not know the mouse shortcuts in the Lexica. I am pretty darn certain that it's got notes about it. Might be fun to see what the challenges are. Have they been added to or changed? No, these look all the same. Have we done any of these? We made a flower farm. We're done. Record, sugarcane, cobble. We have an auto pure daisy. We'll make it even more auto in a bit. Bonus points if only one spreader is used. Oh, that would be using the force relays. And or if the woodstone input is also automated. That will be eventually. We'll mark it complete anyway. We have a mana battery. Yep. Bonus points if the input or output can be changed. We technically can. That's what the Tinkerer, the augment change is that we have. Mouse, wheel, and right click to go back. So, clicking the mouse wheel isn't doing anything here, but the right click did work. Mouse or scroll between pages. Gotcha. Apothecary Refiller. Create a system that automatically refills the petal apothecary if it's empty. Bonus points if the system can also automatically create flowers given the components. Done. Tree farm. Create an automated self-sustaining tree farm. Ours is not quite self-sustaining. What they mean by that is the mana, you produce mana from the stuff you get from the tree farm and push it back into the tree farm. Bonus points if it can do multiple types of tree. Currently, no. But we technically... Should we wait until it could be self-sustaining? Honestly, that could be the part, the self-sustaining part, could be the fix for our current problem. Of making sure there's always mana in the pool for the exoflame so that it keeps running, because right now it can't. And it's causing problems, as you can see. That one probably does not have any more mana in it at the moment because it's been sent to the exoflame. Now, if we... What do you plan to put in the empty... I have several empty circles. I'll tell you my tentative plans at the moment. If we set up an endoflame over here, just one endoflame, and have the output, some of it, have it drop like just having it set up like this, only just one endoflame on a pressure plate sort of deal, and have the mana, this mana spreader just pointing into this mana pool, it would make sure that the exoflame always has mana as long as it's got charcoal, which, as you can see, we can run a whole bunch of endoflames right now, which we should probably set up because those are probably all dead. We do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. We'll do 8. We'll do 16. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Would someone copy my world block for block? I don't know. Which world? This one? Or are you talking about my other world? My other world is massive too. I like massive things. Things are really big. Remember for the cap on the burn time. Yeah, the end of the equivalent exchange fuel. Yep. Or did we say 12 or 16? I think I said 16. How are we doing on seeds and petals? Alright, we'll go place those, and when we come back, that'll get closer to being done, and we'll be able to put the hydrangeas into the farm. Yeah, I remember the equivalent exchange fuel. Yep, that would be awesome. Oh, okay. So I have miscounted probably this delay from picking up endo flames, potential full mana spreaders, has caused that problem. Keeping that. We'll have to really tweak these things. Really, like I need to upgrade the mana spreaders to the elven ones. That should help quite a bit for that. We should do the fix that I mentioned over there so the exoflame never runs out. That the tree farm keeps it running. That would help. I have my shears on me again that belong over here. Alright, how are we doing? Good. 29 more. Yep. That's interesting. You sort and it alternates. Why? Does it do sort by stack? No, because then these would be over there. I don't know. I would love eventually to stop doing charcoal or augment charcoal with the blaze mesh. This stuff. I think it still works as fuel. I mean, it did when it was called a blaze lamp. I haven't tested that actually. I mean, that's something we could test. I'm pretty sure I have enough. Oh, the blaze powder might be over in the over at the mob farm. It has a very long burn time. You can right click it, then you should see it in any eye. Well, oh, here. Smelled 60 items. Thank you, Golden Line. Compared to a single charcoal does what? 8 items? It does 8 items, right? And a block of charcoal. Oh wait. It was, you're right. Sorry, Anima. So, yeah, doing blaze mesh would last a lot longer then. I don't need to actually do it. We need a blaze spawner. And we need to make it run constantly before that happens. Alright, let's look at this again. My to-do list is not super long. Again, the vanilla farm thing I want to show you. Looking at baubles again. An advancement check. Cobbleworks. That's definitely something I need to get going. But I wanted to get more reliable mana gen, which means I want to get the Rosa Arcana going. Yeah, I don't have the Orchid turned on, but I do have the Orchid. That's really what I'd like to do, is get the Rosa Arcana running so that I can have my mob farm collecting XP. That's a lovely, easy passive-ish way of setting up mana gen in this pack. Yeah, getting over here and figuring out the drop area. Yeah, you know how old that message is, Nature of Pylon. Yeah. I don't have a killing mechanism other than a drop at this point, Golden Lion. It's just a drop. Yeah. That's why it's turned off, because I don't have a killing mechanism for Endermen or mobs that have too much armor. They do drop XP in this pack. All mobs drop XP when in this pack it's been modified so that you can automate the Rosa Arcana. Otherwise you can't automate the Rosa Arcana. And so since the point is to automate it, the pack has been changed so that all mobs drop XP no matter how they are killed. Yeah. So that way you can automate the Rosa Arcana, and that's really what we should probably be working on next. Atlas, quit getting into stuff. Yeah, you. Anyway. These are just constantly going. We need to upgrade them so bad. Alright. Need to figure out something better. I'm just wandering around here. So what I need to do is get these hydrangeas placed. I'm sure they're done crafting now. We're just throwing seeds in the system. Oh, we're not. Oh, that was it. That was the last one. Woo. Hey, 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 hey. Stop. Seriously. The box is closed because I don't want you in it. Sorry. Wasn't there some other XP change like ores? Ores already drop XP if they're like, you know, lapis, redstone, coal, diamonds. Those already drop XP. Okay, give me just a second. Okay, sorry, I had to take that box away from Atlas. He really, really wanted in it. It has those biodegradable packing peanuts in it, and he decided he really liked the way they sound when he crunches them, and I'm pretty sure it's okay for him to do it because they're just cellulose, but they make a horrible mess. So, yeah, done with that. I chucked it in the trash out in the garage. Alright, so this should resume. It's still on a 1-minute timer, so this should fill back up again. Alright, let's go into my creative world real quickly. I want to show you what I've been working on for the vanilla crops. Yeah. There aren't a whole lot of crop farms on YouTube for Botania only. There are some, and the one I used in my previous playthrough, the square with the big hole in the middle, that one was lovely, reliable for the most part, great. But I was just like, there has to be a way to make this more massive. Because, you know, it's part of my goal in this playthrough is to make giant things so that I'm not running out of supplies, try to upscale. So if you remember, we were here, this has been a change just a little bit. We were trying to use water. I don't know why I thought to do water flushing when I got the Drum of the Wild. I don't know. So I got rid of that and I made it one longer. So these are 9. Drum of the Wild harvests things. So if you don't know Botania harvesting mechanisms, first, dispensers will plant seeds of all crops for you. So you don't have, the planting is done by dispensers. Harvesting is done by the Drum of the Wild. The Drum of the Wild can reach 25 by 25 by 7. So it's huge range, but it can only harvest 32 plants per mana pulse. So you need to have multiple drums depending on how many farm spots you have. So yeah, no, the drum is a huge range, giant range. It just only harvests 32 each pulse. Now the way I've modified this one, instead of just having a button, is I'm using force relays. Remember, that was one of the things I wanted to learn how to use this time around because they are very useful. So with this, we're going to harvest it even though it's not 100% ready. The mana spreader has a composite lens on it that is phantom warp. You need warp in order to have it bend through force relays. Phantom means it will go through the drum of the wild it'll go through blocks. And we want that as well for 2 reasons. 1, the drum of the wild, and 2, the mana detectors. So what I've got here, there's a bunch of them in here. When I hit the button, it'll go through and the drum of wild will harvest 32 of these. There are more than 32 here, but it'll harvest 32. Hit the force relay, come over here and go through the mana detector and hit this force relay. This mana detector is what activates the redstone. It doesn't go all the way throughout the whole farm, which is why I have 2 of them. It can't reach all the way. There's more than 15 in a line here. So let's just watch it happen. You have to watch pretty quickly. See? And it left a few, remember. There's 4 still here. But yeah, it goes and it plants. There must not have been any seeds in there. Yep. So I took that logic and went, okay, I want to limit my farm on the range of 1 hopperhawk. That hopperhawk is right here. The range of a hopperhawk that is powered by a mana pool is 21 by 21 by 21. So that's what the living rock here is showing, the range of that hopperhawk, what it can pick, the range it can pick up. The other thing I wanted to know, because I didn't know, is how far can a hopperhawk be from its source mana pool? And it can be 10, as you can see by the sparkles. This is 10. This one's not have sparkles. And now you can also see when I hover, I've got the monocle on. So you can see the range of this one with mana is that big, but the range without mana, like that. So that was what I wanted to know for that. And then I also tested how many Drum of the Wilds, a pulse mana spreader with that composite lens, how many Drum of the Wilds can it trigger before it runs out of mana? The answer, 13. So I didn't calculate this, but this is what I'd like to know. 13 times 32, 416. Let me write that down. 416 blocks. So 416 is how many crops 1 mana pulse could harvest. Yeah. If I wanted to also do what I've got here, I'm going to need to drop it down to 12. So 384. Star that. All right. So what I've got going on here, and I haven't run it yet, so I'm just running tests. I might be live in an hour and a half. I'm not sure. Maybe. So my test here was just with 1 drum, and it hits a mana detector. Okay. So this mana detector sends a redstone pulse to these pulse mana spreaders that have a pool, and this is what replants. So my thought was, okay, we first need to harvest. So we'll do that. And whatever mana we have left, we hit a mana detector that will then replant. That removes, in our previous playthrough, that janky redstone ladder going up through mana spreader, drum, mana spreader, drum. We were wasting a lot of mana in that a lot. Since now we know we can actually do a phantom lens and have it go through 13 without having to do lots of mana spreaders and lots of mana bursts. And we weren't even using messenger lenses to reduce the amount of mana. We were wasting a lot of mana. So this, I also wanted to know how far a mana pulse, a mana burst could go triggering these. Now, I found it can only travel 3. It can go from here to there and hit that line, and then to here and hit that line, and to here and hit that line. But it couldn't go to here. So I needed 2. So there they go into the middle. And there's a tiny amount left that we will be able to, with the sparks and augments, push back into whatever our main pool is. The composite lens I have is Phantom Warp, and it looks like a phantom lens when you're done. So Phantom is on top, Warp on the bottom. Again, Phantom so that it can go through blocks, and Warp so that it can be moved and pushed by force lenses. The replanters are dispensers. So let's just watch this happen. There's no seeds in here, so it's not going to plant anything. It's not going to harvest anything. We're just looking at the redstone. The lens for the spreaders that are triggering the replanters. There aren't spreaders at the replanters. Oh, here? This is a phantom lens. This one's Phantom Warp, but I don't need the warp. It just happened to be the one I had. I could just put a phantom one there. Warp is required for the force lenses, but phantom is needed to go through blocks, and that's all I really need for this one, for the harvesting before the replanting. So if we push that, it goes through, and you can watch it trigger all of the dispensers. And again, the residual mana ends up in those pools that we'll be able to push. And the other for the ones who are getting triggered. Yes, actually, you need Phantom Lens on that because I need the remaining mana to go through the detector and hit the force relay. So it needs Phantom. So it's bound to the block that isn't here. It's bound to this block space. And it goes up. It's pointed up. So it goes up through the mana detector, which is why it needs a Phantom Lens. And the residual mana hits the force relay. And that force relay is bound to the block space here. And it goes up through this. And again, it needs the Phantom to do that. And so it's bound to here, and it goes up through this one, and the residual hits here because there's not enough for it to get to this one. What are you testing? I tried it without the Phantom Lens, and it didn't work. It just lit this line up and it didn't bounce. The mana didn't go through the block. The mana needs to go through the block. So yeah. In that vein, so we have this figured out for this one row. We would need to set up these things for all the layers, and I've already started figuring out that I could do another exact one like this on this side and still have room to walk down the hall, down watching the farms happen. That's just one row. I mean, I can see this being stacked higher, which I wouldn't do until we had Corporea. And that's the next step. I was going to build a Corporea setup over here so we could see. This is pre-Corporea, where I would have to manually come down here and put seeds in all of these. Fun. And then this one would automatically supply its own resources. The only major the differences is that we need corporea funnels, corporea sparks, lots of item frames. And those would go where the redstone is right now. They'd sit on top of the dispensers, and then we need the redstone line on top of that, on top of the funnels. Then we would need to move the detectors and the force relays up one. Of course, so they need to be rebound. And that's it. That is all the modification these would need. And if we can figure out this setup here, the replanting might not need to be in the same line as the harvesting. I'm not 100% sure. But the harvesting needs to happen within range of the farm. And so I don't know. Oh, these are definitely within range. So we would need to have that within range of the farm. These don't have to be anywhere near the farm. So I'm trying to figure it out. If we did, because we're gonna need 2 per side. Okay, so we're gonna need 4 just for this layer, and then we're gonna need 4 more for the if I do more than 1 layer. And if I can do that, imagine how many layers this could be up to there. I'm thinking at least 4. We think about this. Let's think about this. Soil layer, dispenser, corporeal funnel, redstone, sparks. And then we're going to need to have a solid layer somewhat because we have water. So we're going to need to have what I have here, a solid layer. And then soil, dispensers, funnels, sparks, redstone, solid layer. And we're only at the halfway point. Soil. So that's 3. That's 3 up to the halfway point. So yeah, probably 5 layers. That's my guess, if I can figure that out. This half a farm, this half layer here is 90 farmland blocks, so 90 crops. It'd be lovely, which means we need 3 drums of the wild to harvest that half. So in order to harvest this whole area down here, we need 6. And that's just rounding up down, because again, I said it does 32 crops per drum of the wild. So if we did, my calculator's already open, 180 blocks, divide by 32, 5.6 drums. Yeah, so we need 6 drums. Warp messenger. Does that go through the block and go to the next one and go to the next one? Because that's what I need. I need it to travel to different... Because having it just go through one is not enough. That's an insane setup. It goes through that, but not through the drums. Well, that's okay, because that's a different step. There's so much garbage in my inventory. Messenger. Do I have just warp? Or is it warp? Which way? Which way did you test it? Warp messenger or messenger warp? You had it warp messenger. Does it work the other way? Alright, so this is warp messenger. This will be messenger warp. Let's try. Alright, so that would be on these. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. Are you? Which one? The warp messenger. Okay, this is warp messenger first. So many phantom warp ones in here. Okay. They're already bound. The force relays are already bound, so I don't need to undo those. Let's see. That was a lot faster too, because it's a smaller amount of burst. Yeah, the relays are already linked one block below the detectors. They're not linked at the detector, they're linked one below. If you think it might be too quick, the way to test that would be to see if we get a seed at the end here planted. Looks like it got it. That was a lot faster because of the messenger variant. Okay, let's see if it works the other way. Not sure it makes a difference, but if we did messenger warp instead. So this is the opposite way to this one that we now have 50 million of. That also works. That one, why didn't you work? There we go. Why didn't that work the second time? Is it too fast? I'm also now baffled. Oh, never mind. I know why. I think we're outside a range of the drum. Otherwise, wouldn't it uproot these? Yeah, I don't think it's in range. I mean, it says the drum of the wild range is 25 by 25. Oh, by 7. The Y is 7. So yeah, it's totally not in range. Because this is like 11. So it has to be lower for that part. No biggie. No biggie. So that's definitely going to save us on mana if we can do Warp Messenger or Messenger Warp. It didn't look like it made much of a difference at all either way. It was faster because there's a smaller amount of mana, and it still traveled the same amount of distance. So that's something to keep in mind. So what do you think? What do you think about the size of the farm that we could make with this? I mean, your standard 1 block of water 9x9 is 80 farm blocks, and this has 90 right here. I mean, yeah, it's bigger, but it's still more compact than just having a great big circle of, what did we have, like 30, 40 blocks of plantable. And then we could stack this as we need more and more, because we're going to need massive amounts of potatoes. Massive. We're going to need massive amounts of seeds. We're going to need a bunch of wheat because we'll need to be making cakes constantly for the Cakeamuras. So we're going to need wheat like going out of style. Carrots not quite as much. Uses. Yeah, carrots probably not at all. Unless we need golden carrots or something. Not really. But we're gonna need lots of crops. Netherwort. We're gonna need lots of netherwort. Melons and pumpkins are very likely going to be the same farm that I did before, which is pure vanilla observer piston thing. Don't need anything more than that. Yep, and I'll have to put agri-carnations in there. I'm not sure where they're going to end up. And if I can place them at the redstone level here, that would be nice. I do not know if they'll interfere with plant growth being 1 above. I think they're considered a transparent block, so if that's the case, I should be fine putting the agri-carnations above at the redstone level, which will be where the funnels are at, because the range of an agri-carnation is not very big. So that is something to think about. This is what I was excited to figure out this morning. It has some things that we need to tweak. We need to make the Drum of the Wilds be lower so that the harvesting happens, and we can still have the residual amount. If we use 12, which I don't know why we would need 12. We don't need 12 right away. We need 6. But the residual mana going through the drum can trigger our setup to replant. So I will probably use, I could definitely use 1 mana detector per layer setup, because we only need 4 force relays. We need 2 for this and 2 for that. So if I just had 2 mana pools, one each caddy corner here, the little angled corners, that would be our little mana burst setup. I'm wondering, since we're going to need several of them and I don't want to have to move them each time, I bet we could put these under the farm or on top of the farm, but under the farm works too. So we put them down here. That could work. I mean, like I said, we could put them above this level. Yep. And that would mean the Drum of the Wild that we would trigger this setup, we'd have the mana spreader pointing downward, and it would go through the floor into the mana detector for each layer. So let's see. If we did multiple of those, okay, we would have the mana detector here, And spreaders. I won't put lenses on because I'm just trying to figure this out. This would be one layer. But what we would need to do is trigger more than one layer of the farm once we started stacking it. So we would need to be able to pull the redstone off of that. Okay, so let's see what we could do. This is coming down from the Drum of the Wild to say we're done harvesting, it's time to replant, and we can just pull the redstone off of it. And then just using the messenger, you can trigger at least half a layer with one. Can it reach that far? Because that was my problem, is it was reaching only to there. Should we retest? Should do more now. Let's rebind these then. Make sure you're down there. Okay, so oh, I need to. Which one is it? I think it's that one. And that one crosses. This is where we would need to have that. Do it again, do it again. It looks like it lit everything up and with mana left over. That certainly conserves a lot. Like, I'm wondering how many it'll do. That's, let's find out. Let's put, those there. This isn't where they're going to be. This is just to emulate how many there are. And let's bind them first. Oops. Okay, let's see how far it goes. It might help if I get these so that we can more visually see what's going on this side. Okay. It lit them all with mana left over. it'll be a great crop farm. Exactly. Won't have to waste a lot of mana on harvesting. I mean, we'll use a lot on agri-carnations. There's no getting over that part. But that will be really efficient. 6 drums per layer is needed. It can go through 12 and still have enough mana to hit a mana detector. It can go through 12 drums. So that would be 2 layers for the amount of drums we need. We'd have to create a separate line if we wanted further drums. Now, if we did this as a 4-layer farm, 2 on the bottom half of the Hopper Hawk and 2 on the top half, we would need 24 drums, 12 on this side going down and 12 on this side going up. And apparently very little mana to harvest or to replant. Let's see here. And since it'd be really hard to reach the storage drawer for this, we could use the red string, use a red string container, and that way we can access the wheat and seeds here from where that one's located. We just have it down, pointing down. The mana pool just has to be within 10 blocks of that Hopper Hawk for it to run. So much goodness can come out of this. I'm excited about what we can create. I will want to expand the test farm and see how it goes. I don't need to do it right now, but I think this will be our setup. Look at how much, just imagine its full production. Just imagine how well it could function. $180 crop spaces per layer times 4. Can't do that in my head. I can't do much math in my head these days. 720 crop spaces. Potentially harvested every 20-ish minutes, 10-ish minutes. We could drop it down a lot. I know if you used a lot of agri-carnations, they could be grown in like 2 minutes. Depending on how much we want to, how much mana we want to spend on it speeding up its growth, which is also something we could do over time as we're creating larger mana producers and we have more mana to spend, place more agri-carnations. But this is very mana efficient. Like, I could do this now. I mean, I don't have all of the resources, but I need redstone, living rock, pistons, dispensers. So we would need some resources. A little bit of the resources here, which aren't bad. Phantom lenses need the abstruse platform, I think, which is not expensive. Messenger lenses just need paper. So this is something I probably want to do in the near future, is set up the first layer of this type of farm and get it running without corporea so that I can at least have seeds and, yeah, wheat. Ooh, I'm so excited. I'm excited! Get excited, guys! Yes! We can do this! All of this simply because I'm learning about force relays. Without understanding force relays or even mana detectors. See, I didn't use these things in my previous playthrough because I didn't know how to use them. So I'm excited that I'm learning something new, and it's making things so much cleaner, faster, better. Woo! This is broken, by the way. So if you guys watched the stream where we did this for 3 hours, or I think I have it on YouTube, but it's not scheduled to go up for a while. It's broke. Here it is broken. It should have chopped down the tree, but the timer got stopped because it got desynced. That's why we didn't do this one in our world. It's over-engineered. I learned some things, and that was fun, and that was great, and I'm just kind of... I am not upset that it didn't work, just that I'd spent 3.5 hours doing this. And it didn't work. But oh well. Learned some things, that's fun. Learning's always fun. This one I still plan on doing. And again, this is the one thing I forgot to do, which is do not disturb on my phone. Yep. Okay. Sorry about that. Anyway, yes, I plan on doing this farm too for the munch dew. So it'll be wood and munch dew will be this one here. Yes. Okay, I think I'm done in our creative world. And in fact, I think I might take a break, feed the cats early, and get some more coffee. And when we come back, it might be time to work towards getting a ventriculotus for the mob farm and figuring out a killing mechanism for that so that we can kill the Endermen and push XP into a central location for the Rosa Arcana so we don't need multiple of those. It will not be producing saplings, as you know. The munch dew eats the leaves and doesn't drop saplings. I'm actually not going to have this farm produce saplings. The saplings are going to come from this farm, the spruce tree farm, because it produces so many saplings. This will be birch, so we're going to just convert the spruce to birch. If you look up birch sapling, it is just one alchemy transition. So a teeny tiny little amount of mana will give me a birch sapling from a spruce one, which we're going to be swimming in. We already have like 8 stacks of spruce saplings. So I will just be converting spruce saplings from the charcoal farm to birch saplings for the munch dew and wood farm. Yep. So I won't have to worry about saplings. All right. I am going to switch over to my other world and then get some coffee and feed the cats. It should take me right around 10 minutes, so feel free to get up, get yourself something to drink yourself, stretch your legs. I will be back. It just takes Heimdall especially a little longer to eat than the other two, so I have to make sure he gets all of his food or the other two will just eat it. So I will be right back. Don't go anywhere and we'll keep playing Floramancer.